Archangel Michael says, "My beloved child, 3 minutes left. A person who is in heaven and who you love very much asks you to open this. Heaven has orchestrated this moment because a shift is about to take place, and you are standing at the edge of revelation. Someone who walked with you once, who loved you deeply and now watches over you in the unseen realm, has pleaded that you receive this message in time. Their love for you has not faded with the passage from earth into eternity. It has only grown more powerful, more insistent, more divine. They see clearly now. They see what you've carried. They see the struggles you didn't speak about. And they are asking, no, begging, that you pause and receive what God is pouring out for you in this moment. You may feel the fluttering within you already. That gentle unease. That stirring you can't quite name. It's because your soul recognizes truth when it enters the atmosphere. This is not coincidence. This is divine design. Heaven knows your name. Heaven knows your journey. And now, heaven interrupts your timeline to deliver something that must not wait. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not too late. This message was written into your path long before you could imagine needing it. You've been carrying the weight of battles too heavy for one person. And yet, you still rise. You've tried to hold on, even as the ground beneath your feet shifted without warning. But even now, in your weariness, God has not abandoned you. You were never alone. The angels have kept silent vigil. And now, as time runs out, they are speaking. The heavens are opening. The truth is pouring down like a waterfall onto your soul. Someone in heaven, someone who knew the rhythm of your laughter and the weight of your pain, is reaching across eternity to remind you of who you are. They see what's coming, and they couldn't stay silent. They have seen the plan that was laid against you in secret. They have seen the smile of the one who pretended to love you while whispering against you. They saw the betrayal before it happened. And now, they rejoice, not because you were hurt, but because the time of exposure has finally arrived. God is exposing this woman. The one who smiled in your face and wished for your failure in secret. The one who spoke blessings with her lips but crafted envy in her spirit. You thought she was for you. You thought she prayed for you. But she was sent to distract, to detour, to drain. And God, in His mercy, is saying, no more. I allowed her to remain until now to teach you discernment, to sharpen your spirit, to cleanse your space. But now, her time is up. Her role is finished. Her motives are laid bare. This is your moment of seeing clearly, of knowing what has been kept hidden. God says, I held back the truth until you were strong enough to receive it. But now, the veil lifts. The games end. The deception unravels. What you suspected is true. What you doubted in yourself is actually your divine intuition. The whispers you heard weren't paranoia, they were protection. Your spirit knew. Your angels knew. And now, you know. Finally, God is exposing this woman. Open it now before you miss what your soul has been preparing for all this time. You are about to enter a new space. A new season. One where you no longer question your worth. One where confusion can no longer stay. One where peace becomes your default, not your exception. This shift cannot include her. It cannot include the lies. The spiritual weight she carries is incompatible with the light God is pouring into you now. That's why your body has felt tense around her. That's why your spirit has felt drained after every encounter. It wasn't your imagination. It was divine warning. And now, that warning becomes confirmation. This message is not about judgment. It's about freedom. It's not about bitterness. It's about clarity. You've loved people who didn't know how to love you back. You've stayed loyal to those who rejoiced in your missteps. But now heaven says, enough. You are not called to carry the energy of deception. You are not called to shrink in the presence of jealousy. You are not called to diminish your light just to make others feel comfortable. That is not humility. That is bondage. And I am calling you out of it now. You were chosen for more. And the person who loves you in heaven knows what you've survived. They know the inner battles. The long nights. The silent tears. The moments where you almost gave up. And now they are shouting your name before the throne of God. They are interceding that you do not miss this divine exit. This breakthrough. This unveiling. They've seen what's been said about you in the Spirit. And they've cried out, Lord, please make sure they receive the message in time. And so you did. In these final 3 minutes, everything begins to shift. You're not here to be ordinary. You were born to be set apart. That's why you never fit in. That's why you always felt too much, too deep, too intense. You weren't made for shallow waters. You were made to swim in the deep. To lead. To create. To bring healing to places others abandoned. That's why the warfare was so intense. The enemy feared your awakening. And this woman, who pretended to be a friend, was part of that distraction. But the distraction ends here. Her spiritual access to you has been revoked. You may feel conflicted right now. Part of you still wants to see the best in her. Part of you wants to hold on to hope. But God says, I am not exposing to destroy. I am exposing to deliver. What you do with this truth is your choice. But know this, your future is too valuable to risk for the sake of someone who wouldn't pray for your elevation unless it included them. This is your holy separation. This is your sacred distancing. This is the cleansing required for what's coming next. You've asked for more. More peace. More clarity. More joy. But you can't receive more while holding on to what has been draining your soul. The weight must be released. The exposure must be accepted. Heaven is making room. And it begins by removing those who secretly wanted your calling without paying your cost. The woman who mirrored your words, who imitated your spirit, who copied your anointing, she is being unmasked. Because your originality can no longer be mocked. You are not replaceable. You are not repeatable. You are divinely designed. And the person in heaven who loves you? They are celebrating. Because they see you rising. They see the chains falling. They see your light coming back. They see you stepping into the fullness of what God wrote for you. No more dimming. No more hiding. No more waiting for permission. Heaven already approved you. And now the angels are moving in agreement. That's why the shift feels so sudden. That's why things are being revealed at once. Because this is the divine moment. The final minute of delay. The final second before everything breaks open. You may feel like crying. That's okay. That's your spirit releasing years of spiritual tension. That's the weight of heaven touching your earthly body. That's the presence of God comforting your soul. Let the tears fall. Let the truth sink in. You are safe now. You are covered. You are seen. You are heard. And you are loved. Not just by the one who watches from heaven, but by the one who created you. Who formed you in the secret place. Who anointed your head with oil and said, "This one is mine." You've waited long enough. You've suffered in silence long enough. You've doubted yourself long enough. But now the voice of God thunders through time and space and declares, "Rise. Be free. Let go. Step forward." There is no condemnation here. Only restoration. Only love. Only power. The woman who tried to delay your awakening has lost access to your story. She will watch from a distance as you ascend. Not because you wished her harm, but because God has drawn a line. And your peace is on the other side of that line. So step across. Don't look back. Don't hesitate. Don't second guess. The angels are guiding you. The presence in heaven is cheering for you. The door is open. And all that remains is your yes. One yes can shift your legacy. One yes can end cycles. One yes can start miracles. This is that moment. This is that yes. And this is your confirmation. Finally, God is exposing this woman. Open it now before the window closes. Open your heart. Open your mind. Open your spirit. Heaven has spoken. And the one who loves you is rejoicing even now. This is not just a message. It is a rescue. It is a revelation. It is the realignment your soul prayed for. Receive it now. Because the clock is almost out. You have received this message not by chance, but by divine orchestration. Everything you've endured, everything you've witnessed in silence, everything you forgave but never understood, it has led to this threshold. And now heaven is handing you a spiritual key. A key to unlock the parts of you that were hidden beneath fear, beneath betrayal, beneath exhaustion. You do not need to seek permission to become what God already declared over you before you were even formed. This is not the time to question your worth. This is the moment to stand up in it. The person in heaven who pleaded for this message to reach you is closer than you think. Even now, their presence surrounds you. You may feel a warmth, a flicker in your chest, a sudden emotion you can't quite explain. That is their love touching your soul. Because they see now what you couldn't see before. They understand the full picture. They know that what tried to stop you never had the power to succeed. They are asking you not to turn back. They are asking you to believe again. The reason you have struggled is not because you were weak. It is because you were chosen. Chosen to carry light into places that didn't want healing. Chosen to walk through storms others avoided. Chosen to love even when it hurt. Your soul was forged in fire for a reason. Because what you carry, your gifts, your voice, your vision, is not for popularity, but for purpose. And purpose always provokes resistance. You didn't attract adversity because you failed. You attracted it because you were marked with destiny. Let me say it clearly again, finally, God is exposing this woman. Open it now before the moment passes. Her role in your story ends here. Not with conflict. Not with bitterness. But with closure. The kind of closure that comes from divine intervention. Heaven is not asking you to hate. Heaven is asking you to release. To surrender what you cannot fix. To stop pouring oil into cracked vessels. To stop feeding spirits that only take and never restore. You are not responsible for changing people who were never willing to change. This is your holy release. This is your divine realignment. Let your heart hear this. You are free to outgrow what no longer reflects God's truth in your life. You are free to create space for joy again. You are free to say no without guilt. You are free to be light without explanation. You are free to forgive without allowing re-entry. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is a door you close so that pain cannot revisit you. The woman who operated in pretense, who borrowed your words, who mimicked your light while harboring envy, she cannot follow you into this next realm. God allowed her to remain long enough to teach you spiritual discernment. But now, her influence is cut off. Let her go. Bless her in silence. And then step forward without looking back. God is calling you to higher ground. There's no oxygen for both of you at this elevation. And listen closely, because this matters. What heaven is preparing for you requires clean hands and a pure heart. It requires space. It requires alignment. You cannot carry counterfeit relationships into authentic purpose. You cannot sustain God's blessings with people who would secretly rejoice at your fall. Heaven has issued a separation order, not as punishment, but as preparation. Feel the weight lifting now. That's the burden breaking. That's the spiritual fog clearing. That's your spirit returning to alignment. You were never meant to live beneath your power. You were never meant to tolerate spiritual confusion. You were never meant to give access to those who prayed against your rise in private. You were meant to move in clarity, in conviction, in confidence. And that begins today. The person in heaven knows you're afraid to start over. They know how many times you had to rebuild what others broke. But they want you to know this truth: you will not lose anything that was meant to stay. And everything that is aligned with your destiny will find you in divine timing. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to shrink. You just have to be still long enough to receive. You've already passed the test. The silence. The betrayal. The inner war. You've proven faithful even when you didn't understand. And because of that, God is rewarding you, not with things, but with peace. With rest. With insight. With people who speak your name in rooms of opportunity. With moments that bring healing, not confusion. With a voice that no longer trembles when you speak truth. With a heart that no longer needs to apologize for being sensitive, intuitive, discerning. You have divine permission to walk away from what confuses your spirit. You have divine permission to reject what no longer resonates. You are being reintroduced to the strongest, clearest, most grounded version of yourself. The version that does not need external approval to trust internal conviction. The version that no longer second-guesses divine instruction. The version that understands, silence is sometimes protection. Distance is sometimes favor. And exposure is always love when it comes from heaven. So hear me, soul to soul, spirit to spirit, you are protected. You are provided for. You are guided. The person who crossed into eternity is watching over you. They are your witness in the cloud. They have seen what the enemy tried. And they are celebrating what heaven just did on your behalf. They see the angels being dispatched. They see the locks being opened. They see the shadows retreating. And they know, you're about to rise. Don't be afraid of the unfamiliar. This shift may feel sudden. It may feel uncomfortable. But it is sacred. It is timely. And it is blessed. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every person who left, it was all preparing space for what could not be birthed in compromise. And now that you are in position, God is doing what He promised. You are not late. You are right on time. This moment is holy. The air around you is shifting. The heavens are open. Let your soul rise. Let your voice return. Let your joy flow again. You are being restored. In every way. Emotionally. Spiritually. Energetically. Mentally. Even physically. The weight that has clung to your body, fatigue, tightness, disconnection, is beginning to lift. Because what affects the spirit affects the body. And when your spirit begins to heal, your body will follow. You are no longer bound by what she said. You are no longer defined by what they assumed. You are no longer held hostage by the spiritual cords of imitation or manipulation. Heaven is rewriting the story. Your story. You are being called back to the front of your own life. And now, you answer not to fear, but to faith. You move not by pressure, but by peace. You act not out of obligation, but out of divine instruction. So listen, finally, God is exposing this woman. Open it now before the moment ends. Do not delay. What you feel is real. What you discern is accurate. And what you are stepping into is holy. You are not crazy. You are not too sensitive. You are not making it up. You are spiritually awake. And your spirit recognizes when the truth knocks on your soul. Let it in. The final chapter has already begun. And it is brighter, purer, freer than anything you've known before. Heaven has seen your tears. Heaven has measured your strength. Heaven has rewarded your obedience. And the next doors are already opening. Walk through them with confidence. Let the ones who misunderstood you watch from a distance. This is not revenge. This is resurrection. God will be with you. Rest assured, nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You just have to trust God and pray to Him. And now that your heart is open, that your spirit is awake, that your soul has leaned closer to heaven's whisper, let the final truth be known, not just around you, but deep within you. What once was hidden is now revealed. The darkness that tried to cloud your sight cannot remain where light is rising. The veil has been lifted. You are not merely a survivor of spiritual trials, you are a witness to the miracle of deliverance. The clarity you are receiving now is not just to show you the past, but to launch you into your future. Let the word settle softly but surely into your soul. The season of silence is over. Heaven is speaking clearly now. There is nothing more to decode, no more signs to decipher. What has been shown to you is truth. What you feel stirring in your heart is confirmation. You are not being pulled backward. You are being drawn upward. The person in heaven who loves you, who asked God to deliver this message to you, knew you would understand it the moment you saw it. This is not the first time they've reached out. That flicker of light at midnight. That scent of warmth when no one was around. That inexplicable comfort during sorrow. It was them, every time. Now they want you to know, they see you choosing light even when it hurt. They see you walking in love when you could have closed your heart. They see your truth, your strength, your refusal to let the world steal your softness. Heaven honors that. God honors that. Your faithfulness did not go unnoticed. And now it must be said again, not because God needs to repeat himself, but because your soul must absorb it like sunlight. Finally, God is exposing this woman. Open it now before the blessing bypasses the place of delay. You've waited long enough. You've prayed long enough. You've stayed silent long enough. The exposure is not for shame. It's for freedom. It's for clarity. It's for your next step to be unhindered. And yes, God says, this is your time. Only once, and for the moment you needed it most, Heaven allowed those words to echo so they would awaken something eternal inside you. God says you have waited with patience while others took advantage of your kindness. You have loved with truth while others manipulated affection. You have forgiven without being asked, and now, the divine reward must come. Not as vengeance, but as vindication. Not in arrogance, but in peace. Not with fanfare, but with spiritual confirmation so deep that no one can deny it. The woman who copied your light, who mimicked your love, who wore your kindness like a cloak but sowed confusion behind closed doors, she has been seen. Not by human eyes, but by the eyes of heaven. And heaven is not angry. Heaven is not surprised. Heaven simply waited for you to be strong enough to hear what needed to be revealed. She was not a friend. She was an assignment. And her role in your life has expired. Let her go. Let go of the conversations you wish you had. Let go of the explanations you never received. Let go of the hope that she would turn around. You are not her savior. You are not her answer. You are not responsible for her choices. Release her with compassion. Bless her in your prayers. And then close the door she tried to leave open for her own convenience. God is closing it now. You are free. Do not linger at the exit. Turn your face toward the light. The chapter ahead is full of divine encounters. You are about to meet people who speak your language, who respect your boundaries, who hold your heart without bruising it. You are about to create spaces where your truth doesn't shrink the room. You are about to experience a joy that doesn't come with guilt. This is the reward of obedience, of trusting God when you couldn't trace His plan, of holding on when others let go, of choosing peace when chaos was offered. Your faith was not in vain. Your tears were not wasted. Your midnight prayers were not forgotten. You are standing in the season that those prayers built. Listen to your breath now. It's steady. It's full. You are alive. You are aligned. You are aware. And with every breath, heaven is speaking again, you are enough. You are safe. You are worthy. The woman who used your story for attention, who mimicked your healing journey while hiding behind masks, she is no longer your assignment. She is a closed chapter. Not to be hated. Not to be feared. Just no longer given access to what God is building through you. Let her watch from the shadows, if she must. But your light will no longer be dimmed to make others comfortable. This message, this moment, this miraculous clarity is not just about her. It is about you. You, child of heaven, have crossed a spiritual threshold. What you allow from this moment forward must reflect the healed version of you, not the hurting one. What you engage with must reflect your growth. What you give your energy to must be sacred. There is no time left for cycles. No more loops. No more pretending. No more ignoring that inner nudge. The person in heaven who asked for this message believes in you. They know your strength. They know your potential. And they are watching, cheering, guiding, because you are the one who breaks the patterns. You are the one who restores the legacy. You are the one heaven trusted with the shift. Let your posture change now. Shoulders back. Chin high. Soul open. Heart guarded but not hardened. Mind clear. Eyes fixed on heaven. You have angels surrounding you. You have wisdom flowing to you. You have divine energy restoring every weary cell in your body. You are not alone. You never were. And now, it's time to walk forward with confidence. This is not the end. This is the emergence. This is not the collapse. This is the coronation. You are not failing. You are being refined. You are not abandoned. You are being aligned. God will be with you. Rest assured, nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You just have to trust God and pray to Him. The person in heaven sees the smile returning to your face. They see the light returning to your eyes. They see the sacred fire in your spirit sparking again. And they want you to know this: everything is about to make sense. You didn't lose anything that was truly yours. And what's coming next is not just a blessing. It's a divine affirmation that God never stopped working for you. And so this is how it ends. Finally, God is exposing this woman. Open it now before the moment is gone. What you do next is your testimony. What you choose next is your breakthrough. What you believe next determines everything. Now go. If you believe in God, type Amen.